Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulon J. Up next, Ravens versus Bills. Keys to victory. Let's talk. Well, all the commentation about the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens game is about over, right? All of the predictions, the prognostication, the weather forecast, the injury to Zay, Willie or Willie won't he play, the Ravens size versus the Buffalo Bills size, battle of the MVPs, all of those kind of conversations and commentary is about up. Kickoff is roughly in about 8 hours, and everything will be settled on the field. And so, what will the Baltimore Ravens need to do in Buffalo to get out of there with a win? Well, let me be clear. Style points at this point don't matter. It does not matter to me specifically if we win by a little bit, if we win by a lot. It doesn't matter if Buffalo beats themselves or we beat Buffalo. It doesn't matter if the refs get involved as long as we overcome the refs. Because nobody tonight around 9:30 is going to care about any of that pre-game stuff, any of that extracurricular stuff like refs, intensity, weather. All that's going to matter is what the scoreboard says. And the Baltimore Ravens have to be on top. Okay? When I think about this game, much has been made about the weather. So we understand that going into this game, both teams will have a focus on running the ball. And personally, I think this game is won or lost in the trenches. Offensive lines and defensive line play. I think that's where the game is going to be won and lost. And so I think key number one, I'm going to give you 3 offensive for the Ravens, 3 defensive for the Ravens. Key number 1 for the Baltimore Ravens offense is know who you are. Don't get out there and be shocked by the cold weather. Don't get out there and be shocked if you don't come out and hit a 50-yard play on the first drive. Come out there and be who you are. The Baltimore Ravens are an elite passing team, and they are an elite running team. We're the only team in the league, maybe in league history, that has a 4,000-yard passer and over 3,000 yards rushing. So that means we're balanced in both. So be who you are in the context of what the game is allowing you. The weather conditions are going to say you're going to need to run. So come out first drive and establish what you're going to do in that run game. Be very, very intentional and be very, very clear. That's number 1. I think if the Baltimore Ravens know who they are coming into this game, they don't get fancy, they don't try to be tricky, they come out and line up and play smash mouth football. The Buffalo Bills cannot beat us that way. I don't believe that they can. Key number 2 offensively. Don't get caught up in the extracurricular activity. Don't get caught up in the after the play pushing and shoving, the after the play celebration. None of that. None of that. Because I'm sure some of that is going to go on tonight. Because it's in those extracurricular things where we get penalties that set us back. We need to stay even with the chains. We don't need to be in 2nd and 15. We don't need to be in 3rd and 10. We don't need any of that. Because that is an automatic passing down. And if the wind is going to be blowing like expected, if the precipitation comes like expected, the passing game tonight is going to have to be efficient, but also it's going to have to be at a minimum. So no extracurricular, no self-inflicted wounds. Key number 3 for the offense. I think that you're going to have to make sure you utilize the screen passes, but don't be so telling with it. So it's kind of like a 2-part key. Utilize the screen passes. Justice Hill was devastating in that week 4 win, as I showed you on video. But I think it doesn't just have to be Justice Hill. I think it can be also Derrick Henry. I think it can be also Keaton Mitchell. And so utilize that, because if we're going 2 tight end sets, which I think that's what we'll go with, most of tonight, I think that the screen pass will be consistently open, especially if the tight ends get open in the middle of the field, make a couple of catches, because I think we will have to pass the ball. But I think that screen pass will be open consistently. An offensive bonus, I think that it would be beneficial if the Baltimore Ravens use some two-back sets. And I don't necessarily mean the power I mean two backs, Henry and Hill in the backfield at the same time. Henry and Keaton Mitchell at the same time. Hill and Mitchell at the same time. Because what you want to do is make sure you keep them focused on the backfield versus the pass. We'll talk about that in the bonus. When we jump to the defensive side of the ball, I think that key number one is show up in the trenches. We can't have been the best run defense team all year long and get to this game and act like we don't know what we're doing in those trenches. I think Madubuike, Michael Pierce, and Travis Jones should be the guys who get most of the run in the trenches. You would have roughly a 300 plus pound average in those trenches, which should allow us to control the interior of the offensive line out to the tackles. That allows our linebackers to scrape and clean up everything is in the run game. I think that also key number two, make sure we hold the edge. Odafe, Calvin Noy, Tavius Robertson, maybe even, I don't know even know if David Ojabo plays tonight, but maybe even a David Ojabo. I think that we have to hold the edge. If we can make Josh Allen, when he's extending plays, if he can go side to side, east and west versus north and south, I think that's to our advantage. It's when he starts to move north and south towards that line of scrimmage, I think that's when it begins to suck up the safety, the linebacker, so on and so forth. So if we can keep him going sideline to sideline, our secondary and second level can stay in coverage. So we have to be able to hold the edge. Key number three, I think Marlon Humphrey must shut down Shakir. I think that has to be his only obligation tonight. Shakir typically plays in that slot. Now, I have seen some commentary about Marlon Humphrey going to the outside and putting Brandon Stephens in the slot. I think it's a move that if we have to, we do it. But I think coming into this game, I think we want Marlon Humphrey covering Shakir. He's their most dangerous weapon. If I'm honest, he's the one with the deep speed. He's the one with the catch. You also have the catch ability. So I think if Marlon Humphrey is on him primarily, I think we can hold him to a minimum. All right. I think a bonus defensively, I think that we have to get 2 turnovers. And I do believe Josh Allen gives us 2 turnovers tonight. I don't know if it's 2 interceptions or a fumble and an interception, but I do think he gives us 2. Special teams is going to be super important in this game, especially in the context of kickoffs and field goals. I think that an ability not to allow kick returns, whether you're kicking it out of the back of the end zone, whether you're kicking it short into the catching range, whatever it is, I think not allowing big kickoff returns is going to be super important because that can flip the field. That can also put a team in automatic scoring position. See the Houston Texans game yesterday. And so when you really think about it, I think that Justin Tucker being able to kick field goals over 40 yards is going to be difficult. And so the less pressure we can put on Justin Tucker, the better off we will be in this game. I expect that if we are 4-3 or less in plus field position, if we're on their side of the field, I think we're going to see the Baltimore Ravens go for it more times than you see a punting or more times than you see them try and kick a field goal. I think punting will be important as well. And so I think that because the ball will be hard, more difficult to get under it, so on and so forth, I think that you're going to see the Baltimore Ravens go for it more when it's 4th and short. Let's predict this game. I think that this game, like I said earlier, will be won or lost in the trenches. Whoever performs well in the trenches will be the team to win. Whoever wins the turnover battle will be the team to win. I think this is going to be kind of an odd game. And I think it'll be something like 26 Ravens, 21 Buffalo. Well, how did I get 26? Well, in order for it to be odd, you got to have an odd score, right? I think there'll be some things that happen in this game that are unexpected. I think there'll be some plays made in this game that'll be unexpected. But I think that the Ravens do prevail despite the cold and despite being on the road. Some statistics I think that we'll see in this game. I think you'll see Derrick Henry between 90 and 100 yards. I think you'll see Lamar Jackson lead the Baltimore Ravens in rushing today. I say that because of this. We watched how Lamar Jackson established the game last week, running, I think, 4 of the first 5 plays. And that was so that the defense will put a focus on him versus Derrick Henry, and then Derrick Henry started to get busy. I see a little bit of that happening today, right? We've seen games where Lamar Jackson comes in with a focus that he puts the team on his back early and then allow everybody else to eat later in the game. I think it's that same perspective today. I could see Lamar Jackson rushing for over 100 yards in this game, simply because the Buffalo Bills will come out like the Pittsburgh Steelers did last week, and their focus is going to be stopping Henry and saying, hey, let's make Lamar Jackson beat us. And I think that's exactly what he will do. I predict Lamar Jackson has 2 passing touchdowns and about 190 yards passing. I see him rushing for over 100 and having a rushing touchdown as well. Now, how we get to 26, I'm not sure, but I think it's 26-21 Baltimore. You guys let me know what your score predictions are, and we'll talk after the game. I'm Miguel Boulanger. This is the GM, and I'm out.